If you think about all the places you can visit, the natural wonders of Earth, the central Walbran with its waterfalls, its emerald pools, its ancient cedars, is really one of the most spectacular places you could ever see on this planet.
These are some of the most photogenic landscapes on Earth, and to me it's definitely better to bring your camera and take only pictures than to be taking the actual trees out of the forest.
The Walbran Valley is an opportunity for us to expand the tourism in Port Renfrew. Simply to give visitors to Renfrew another place to go, and expands on the idea that Renfrew is Canada's tall tree capital.
We're asking the BC government to ultimately establish legislation that will end old growth logging in the province and ensure sustainable second growth forestry. But there are certain hot spots where it's an emergency crisis. One valley over from the Avatar Grove is the central Walbran ancient forest, which is sort of like the Avatar Grove on steroids. It's more extensive, it's bigger, it has probably higher recreational values, but it's currently under risk of logging. There are 8 proposed cut blocks. In fact, one of them has been approved for Teal Jones in the central Walbran ancient forest, and the company is also logging in the special management zone in the Walbran right now.
To elevate this, to bring attention to this, to say there's a spectacular place out there that you can drive to, that you can see something that you can see almost nowhere else in North America, that's primo.
This went through an extensive land use planning process when the Carmanah Wilderness Area was established. This area was at that, by agreement of all the parties at the time. This area was not included in that protected area. It was left to be in the timber harvesting land base. So we're going to support the harvest activity. It is by helicopter. There are no roads. There are no trails, no heavy equipment. And it's operated under a special management zone, which means limited size cut blocks.
South of Port Alberni, we've lost about 90% of all the original productive old growth forests, including about 95% of the lowland valley bottom ancient forests. So we're looking at only about 5% of these lowland ancient forests, the high productivity ones, like in the central Walbran, left of what used to be here on the South Island. So, for us to have to keep fighting over that last 5 to 10% here is ridiculous.
By taking photographs of these places, both the beauty and sometimes the unfortunate destruction of these landscapes, you have a way to tell the story of the fact that, hey, there are these forests here that are really important to protect, but also that we're losing them at the same time.
When you cut down an old growth forest, there's a huge amount of carbon released in the decomposing wood waste, in the clear cuts, in the landfills, in the sewage system. And the second growth plantations are trying to get back the carbon lost from logging the original old growth forests. It would take 200 years to re-sequester that carbon, and the climate crisis doesn't have 200 years to wait. There's a net loss of carbon when you convert old growth forests into second growth plantations.
People have shown up literally with photographs in their hand, and they say, "Take me to this tree, I need to see this tree." And it just goes to show that if you leave these forests standing, you can employ people for decades to come.
Unless the people push the government to make some laws and regulations, we got to save the last few ancient forests for the economy, not just for the environment. Environment obviously is foundational, it's the most important thing.
Perhaps we can have a meeting with the Minister of Forests, Teal Jones, and other interested parties to come up with a solution that works for Teal Jones, that works for us. Renfrew is not an anti-logging community, but we firmly believe that leaving those trees where they are is good for business. And perhaps we can work something else out where Teal Jones can still get the timber they need, but not from Walbran.
There's only about 500 hectares in the central Walbran, remains largely intact, and it is the finest unprotected ancient forest left in the entire country. It's got the most extensive stand of densely packed monumental ancient red cedars left. I think the government needs to have some foresight and break from the status quo of liquidating the last of the ancient forests. There's got to be a moratorium right away.